Hello and welcome to my weekly show Power and Politics. We are going to discuss today US President Donald Trump's a week-long jet-set itinerary last week to South Asia. It was a masterclass in reclaiming American primacy. He blended bombastic rhetorics with billion-dollar deals, all while subtly reshaping alliances in Asia's volatile chessboard. Trump's return to Asia was not a courtesy call in any sense. It was a declaration of war, a declaration of political war, economic war in all the Asian countries. In Kuala Lumpur's blinding heat, he stepped off Air Force One as if reclaiming any lost ground. His red tie, the clenched fist, the defense swagger, every gesture broadcast one message. America is back and it will be obeyed by everyone. That's the directive he wanted to give. This was not conventional diplomacy. It was theater with intent, well defined, well written, well curated. Trump turned a routine arrival into a spectacle of dominance. And as local dancers swirled around him, the symbolism was unmistakable. He would dance to no one's tunes but his own only. From the first moment, Trump framed his ASEAN tour as a campaign of reclamation. Malaysia, Japan, South Korea, each stop chosen to project his own strength and not that of America alone. Each handshake choreographed to remind allies and adversaries alike that the age of American retreat was over. He came not to renegotiate but to dictate. His words were blunt, his tone unmistakably imperial. This was Trump's brand of diplomacy. Purely transactional, loud and ruthlessly effective. In Malaysia, he seized the stage at the ASEAN summit, but not merely as a participant, but as its master of ceremonies. He was all over the place, shaking hands, waving hands, everything which he could do. He brokered a long frozen peace between Cambodia and Thailand, a border feud that had lingered for decades in this region. This is huge. Nobody else could have done it. He declared, he boasted, like a winner in any field. Behind the self-congratulation lay a calculated design. That was, stabilize South Asia frontiers and open its markets to American capital. Then came the deal with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, $70 billion of Malaysian investment into US cities, infrastructure and technology. Can you believe it? Malaysia investing in America? Trump sold it as job creation for Americans, but the subtext was very clear. Tethered Malaysia closer to Washington, pulling yet another Asian economy out of Beijing's gravitational pull. It was a diplomatic victory. He left Kuala Lumpur having re-established the United States as the indispensable broker of peace and profit both at the same time. It was diplomacy as domination, executed with characteristic audacity. That was Trump's style. Tokyo was next. There, Trump met Japan's new Prime Minister, Sanai Takaichi, a historic first female for Japan and the crucial test of her resolve. Trump pressed hard on defense spending and trade. That is his favorite sector. He revived old grievances about market imbalances, repeating his familiar line, Japan is a great ally, but no more free rides for them, unquote. To the American troops stationed there, he promised strength, deterrence, and victory. That was another very important message. He framed his visit as the start of a new Pacific century, one led by Washington, not shared with anybody else. It was America's and America's alone. And then came the summit in Busan, the crescendo of Trump's Asian performance. There he met Xi Jinping face to face after taking over in Washington. It was his first meeting. The atmosphere was tense. The stakes were immense. A tariff war loomed over both the nations. But Trump, ever the deal maker, chose pressure wrapped in praise. That is his masterclass. That is his style. He announced afterward, China respects strength. The message to Beijing was unmistakable. Negotiate from fear, not equality. The agreement that followed was thin on paper but heavy with symbolism. Tariff eased, markets reopened, and Trump claimed victory once again. Few months ago, China was number one enemy. Now it was becoming a friend. In truth, it was a tactical truce, not a settlement at all. There cannot be. But in politics, perception is power. And Trump owns perception at the moment. He defines the perception. He prescribes the perception. In Korea, he extracted an 18.8 billion export deal for US goods, tightened defense commitments, and dangled the possibility of a renewed dialogue with Kim Jong-un, which is Korea's major concern. It was the old Trumpian formula. Tension, threat, reconciliation, always on his terms. He writes them, he defines them. Everywhere he went, leaders smiled and signed. They had no choice. He's taller than all, taller than all of Asia. Understand power when it sees it, and Trump embodies it in raw, unsettling form. Behind the ceremonies, though, one essence spoke louder than the applause. That was India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's decision to skip the ASEAN-Indo summit was no accident. It was a quiet protest against a US tour that sought to redraw Asia's hierarchy. For Trump, India is both a partner and a problem. A rising power that refuses to be anyone's subordinate. Modi speaks of a multipolar world. Trump dreamed of a unipolar one. That's the fight. Those visions cannot coexist. Obviously, they can't coexist. They can't work together. To remind the world that, despite rivals and critics, America can still set the rhythm. But by excluding India, Trump might be playing too narrow a game, which he has to understand. India's rise is not something that can be ignored or contained by any superpower in the world. Its economy is booming, its tech sector is exploding, and its influence stretches from Moscow to Washington. To live India out of a new Asian order is to build a house with a missing wall. Throughout his tour, Trump cloaked confrontation in flattery. What an irony. He called Modi a dear friend and a tough guy. Yet, with every compliment came a cut. He bragged about preventing an Indo-Pak war, a claim New Delhi never accepted or confirmed. In fact, it denied all the time. But he doesn't stop bragging about it. And in Malaysia, he joked that Modi's absence made real deal possible. It was an undiplomatic remark. It was an insult dressed as humor. A reminder that in Trump's world, India's independence is a nuisance. Trump may win headlines, but Modi's quiet confidence wins allies and supporters, which he forgot. Trade tells the same story. Japan and South Korea received tariff relief. Even China got some concessions. But India remains under heavy US duties on steel, aluminium, and textiles. India is a great country, Trump said, but they hit us hard. We hit back harder. Again he boasted. This is not partnership, it is punishment. And it signals something deeper. Trump's intent to keep India from emerging as a peer competitor in the world global politics. In contrast, Southeast Asia was showered with favors. Trump unveiled trade frameworks with Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, and Cambodia. Each agreement linked new markets to American exports. Each deal quietly bypassed India. It was strategic encirclement by economic means used by President of the United States of America. The goal was simple: tighten America's grip on the Indo-Pacific while narrowing India's room to maneuver. And yet, despite his volatility, his impulsive remarks, his unpredictable style, Trump was greeted across Asia with ceremonial honors few leaders ever received. That's an irony. Japan awarded him a gold medal. South Korea gifted a bespoke hanbok embroidered with eagles. Malaysia hailed him as a peacemaker. And when he went home, he declared that he is going to start nuclear experiment again. They know his flaws, but they also know his power. In Trump's world, respect is extracted, not earned. His Asian odyssey was about more than deals. It was about rewriting the script of American relevance. He sought to prove that Washington still holds the final word in Asia's power equation. He invoked strength, loyalty, and fear, the three currencies that sustain empires. But beneath this show of command lies a paradox. Trump's strategy depends on isolation, cutting rivals out of the frame. Yet the modern world punishes exclusion. Asia's future is multipolar by design. India's rise, China's assertiveness, Japan's rearmament, these forces will not bow to unilateral will. Trump may have staged a triumphant return, but he may also have drawn the battle lines of America's eventual decline. Because dominance without partnership breeds resistance. And in a region where alliances shift like tides, resistance becomes revolution. For now, Trump basks in applause. He has the headlines, the handshakes, the optics. But the legacy of this tour will not be written in contracts. It will be written in consequences. Bypassing India, he risks alienating the very force that could balance China. By treating allies as clients, he risks turning them into opportunists. And by framing power as spectacle, he risks mistaking attention for influence. Trump's Asian journey was not a mission of peace. It was a march of power, deliberate, forceful, and theatrical. He reminded the world that America still commands the spotlight. But when the lights dim, one truth remains. The world he seeks to dominate has already changed, which he has forgotten. The age of obedience is over, Mr. Trump. The age of balance has begun. That's all for today. We'll meet again to discuss another topic. Till then, goodbye. But I want to remind you, please watch my channel, subscribe it, share it, and write some comments, good, bad, ugly, bitter, or sweet. I wouldn't mind. I will definitely respond. Goodbye. Thank you very much.